Every offseason in the NBA, there tends to be a main storyline at the forefront of the news cycle, typically focusing on a superstar player or multiple other players, whether it be where they go in free agency, where they get traded, or even any antics performed off the court. We see it time and time again, and the NBA as a whole has proven to provide ridiculous entertainment value even when the games aren't being played. This offseason, that main storyline was the saga that followed James Harden as he finally decided enough was enough and forced his way out of Houston in the hope of finding greener pastures elsewhere in his quest for a championship, and along the way, a lot of drama unfolded. He did manage to make his way to the Brooklyn Nets, but the topic of today's video is actually going to be focusing on the team that he abandoned. The Nets have gotten a ton of coverage since this all went down, and for good reason, but ever since that trade happened, the Rockets have been sneakily one of the best teams in the league, and nobody seems to be taking notice of it. So in this video, we'll be discussing what exactly has been going so well for them, why we really shouldn't be that surprised about it, the truth about James Harden in all of this, and whether or not this successful run that they're on right now is actually sustainable or not. Before we get started though, it turns out about 67% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. So, when this whole thing started with Harden requesting a trade and trying to force his way out, he was doing everything in his power to get out of there. He was missing training camp practices, he was giving cryptic answers in interviews about it, and when the games finally started, he was playing without much energy and just looked completely disinterested with the situation around him. This all rubbed off on those around him as well, which made the frustrations from the people on the Rockets even more obvious, and as a result, the team got off to a pretty poor 3 wins and 6 losses start of the season. Sure, COVID protocols forced key players like John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins to miss a lot of those early games, but even when they came back, the energy was just never right, and it all culminated with Harden basically saying in a post-game interview that this team did not have enough to win, and that would eventually be the launching point towards speeding up the trade process. A few short days after that occurred, Harden did get traded to Brooklyn, and when that happened, most of the attention followed Harden from the national audience, leaving Houston behind as a bit of an afterthought. The Rockets had one of the worst records in the conference at the time, and they just traded away their best player, so most assumed that they would just continue to struggle and wind up proving to be a mediocre team at best, without any real aspirations. However, anyone who was paying close attention to them at the time should have known that would be the furthest thing from the truth, and since the trade went down, the Rockets have looked like a brand new, inspired ball club playing with a huge chip on their shoulders. Since the trade went down with the Rockets, they have gone on a tear, winning 7 of their next 10 games, including having won 5 in a row, which is a streak that is still ongoing now, and while most counted them out, they've climbed right back firmly into playoff contention. They now have a record overall of 10 wins and 9 losses, good for the 8th seed in the West at the moment, and that sluggish start that they got off to is now a thing of the past, with the team trending strongly in the right direction. So how have they done this? Well, while this isn't the full answer, and I will get into more of a detailed answer later on, it simply comes down to everybody finally being able to buy in and actually enjoy playing together. DeMarcus Cousins explained the cohesion building within the team pretty well in a recent interview, where he said, "It's a good group, everybody is bought in, everybody cares about each other, we just enjoy playing basketball, enjoy seeing each other successful, and enjoy getting the W, and knowing that's the common goal throughout the group, you can't ask for more. It's fun to play basketball, it's fun to come to work, that's just setting a good work environment, and just a good chemistry throughout the team. I think it's great. We're holding each other accountable, we're able to talk to one another, we're able to criticize one another and accept it in a positive way. Kudos to the entire group. From the coaching staff to the guys in the locker room, I feel like guys are on the same page, and at the end of the day, it's about winning games. We faced some rough waters in the beginning, just trying to get everybody on the same page, and, separating the people that wanted to be here and not be here. Now we're able to just focus on basketball and getting better every day. That's what we're doing. That last part was clearly a dig at Harden, which honestly you can't even blame him because he was admittedly at the heart of the team's early season frustrations, but overall, it just seems like the locker room chemistry both on and off the court is where any team would want it to be, and the most cohesive teams tend to be the ones that have the most success. This cohesion has been most apparent on the defensive side of the floor, which is where the Rockets have built their identity in that span. At one point this season, the Rockets ranked as low as the 28th ranked defense in the league out of 30 teams, but ever since the trade, they have been far and away the #1 ranked defense in the league in that span, and even when taking the entire season into account, they're currently ranked #2 overall in defensive efficiency, only ranking behind the Los Angeles Lakers in those rankings. That's pretty damn impressive, and I don't think many saw it coming, but perhaps we should have. For one, the Rockets did get Victor Oladipo in the James Harden trade, and if there's one thing he's always been known for throughout his career, it's been his perimeter defense. He's not the offensive powerhouse Harden is, but defensively his impact blows Harden's out of the water, and he's even been named first-team All-Defense in the past, and he's come to Houston with a great attitude that's rubbed off on everyone else around him on that end. The team does a great job communicating on defense, they work together and make solid rotations, and the cohesion has been a thing of beauty with players like John Wall, Christian Wood, PJ Tucker, Daniel House, and even newcomers like Jayshawn Tate, David Nwaba, and Sterling Brown, all playing some of the best defense of their lives right now. And while defense is at the heart of the team's turnaround in this stretch, there are definitely no slouches offensively either. John Wall looks more and more comfortable with each passing game as he continues to get back into the swing of things after coming back from his injury. Victor Oladipo is scoring over 20 points a night while in Houston so far. Christian Wood has been one of the biggest breakout players in the entire NBA, putting up all-star caliber production. Eric Gordon is back to looking like a legitimate 6th Man of the Year candidate, and then all of the role players have done a really good job buying into those roles and doing their jobs well, which might be the most surprising of all, because most did not think the Rockets were a very deep team. To summarize, this is yet another example of a team finding success when everybody is on the same page and the chemistry is beaming, because that stuff really does matter at this level. James Harden said he didn't think Houston had enough to win a championship this year, but honestly, if you swap back Victor Oladipo for the version of Harden that we've seen throughout his career that was fully bought in and motivated, then the Rockets very well might have been able to contend with him. I don't necessarily fault Harden for feeling the way that he felt, and now he is in a good spot playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, but at the same time, he and many others vastly underrated how good this Rockets team is and can be. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how good you think the Rockets can actually be this season. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.